Oh no.
Oh, oh, obesity? Is that what OBS stands for?
Oh, we need to get Drew like properly.
If you can hear the sound of my voice, if you can hear my voice, you're hearing my voice. If you can hear my voice, if you can hear the sound of my voice, you are on LSD. 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 You are on the Lonely Screen Delicatessen channel.
All right, we're live.
Oh, if you can hear the sound of my voice, then you are on LSD. Not the compound that can alter your perception of reality. No. You're on the podcast, the Lonely Screen Delicatessen Network chat show. And with me, as always, is the Pinoy Boy Toy Mike Noveloso. I'm
That's
your
me.
host, Big Andy Rodriguez. I never liked being called Andy, even as a kid. Old people would call me Andy, and I was like 5 years old, and I'd be like, fuck you, bro.
That's the first time I've heard you call yourself Big Andy.
Yeah, I've never called myself Andy. This was the first time in general
No,
that I
big.
ever called myself Andy.
Just Big Andy.
Yeah, right? No,
Anything.
black dudes always call me Big something. So, like, recently I was hanging out with a couple of dudes in my neighborhood.
Big
Like, hey,
Drew.
big dog, hey, big fucking guy, whatever. They like that. It's like a nice way of saying, like, you kind of fat, but...
Big fucking guy.
Our guest tonight is my kid brother, not my youngest brother, but amongst them, my brother Mario, a.k.a. Bark Dango. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good.
I see you got your claws back on.
Yeah, I got my claws back on. I did them myself.
Right on. Oh, you did them yourself. Right on.
Oh yeah, no, I got a little UV, light here.
Dude,
right
you know
there.
what's funny? I know a few people who got into like nail shit during the pandemic. Eva was one of them. She has like a full-on little nail salon in the corner of her office.
Yeah.
I was like, you're fucking up several businesses by doing this, woman.
Well
He's
then, Eva and I have something to talk about next time I come visit.
Oh, dude, she'll totally talk to you about gel nails and shit or whatever that shit is.
Oh yeah.
Her sister like trade them like their baseball cards and shit. Then she makes fun of me for building Lego sets.
Yeah, I got mood nails actually. My claws. They turn gray if they're hot. They turn black if they're cold. So I get that like.
Yeah. What do they
I get
turn
that-
if you're jerking off?
Gray.
Gray. Yeah, I was gonna say, that's
Like no, they turn gray if they're at body temperature. If they get
Right.
colder, so you can see the tip, they're dark.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Then I can do this.
I
Gray.
was just about to ask, like, when you're in,
Yeah.
they turn gray too.
I'm sure they turn to the body heat temp color. Yeah. I'm sure that's.
Well, I imagine that my lady friend would not
You know what you do?
appreciate
You know what you do right?
claws.
You know what you do right now, Mario? You stop.
Yeah.
Take it from a couple married guys.
You don't let me bait you into saying
who
something
are
that's
not
going
in
to
the
get you in
courtship
trouble.
phase of their
trouble, yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
You stop. Because
Yeah.
you're at the stage now where the person that's in, like my wife, I don't think she's watched a one of these podcasts. She doesn't give a fuck what I'm doing. She's like, he's in the basement doing something. It has nothing to, she doesn't care. She wants me for other stuff. You know what I mean? Like dadhood and dick. Like that's what she's into. Your chick is probably at a stage now, or I don't know, misgender. I don't know, kids nowadays, you can't call them a chick or a dude or whatever. But anyway, you're at a stage where you gotta shut the fuck up and be like, so like do the whole like, again, don't divulge too much.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, Mario.
Don't allow yourself to be pulled in by an older brother style or thing.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, Mario.
Now be honest and be the piece of shit you are from jump.
Yeah,
but don't be too flippant with your intimacy.
I will not divulge relationship. I will speak generally.
With it. That's all. Yeah,
I will speak generally then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair?
And my wife has only ever watched one of these for like the 15 minutes where I was mercilessly making fun of her.
Yeah, but like I don't want to like hear about it 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Those are the best. Those are the best things. I already told
when they're that far gone, it's good because then you can just be like, really? Like you got that angle.
You don't remember? Yeah.
You knew. Like, we talked about that.
Yes.
A long time ago. There's a lot of things that happened in between.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yes, the obfuscation and manipulation of fucking long-term relation. It's rough.
Yeah.
Oh dear God.
And
It's
to
fun
be
too.
fair, there's two types of manipulation. There's the terrible, abusive kind, and then there's just the general, like, I need to be able to not go crazy. So I need to manipulate the situation.
This is true. This is very true.
Yes.
The not go crazy. Yes. Well, sometimes it's not even manipulation. It's just tactical thinking.
Yeah, it's like, but I mean, to super sensitive
it could be
people.
construed as manipulation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like anything in life, right? You have to be tactical. If you're driving on the highway, you're being tactical when you're moving through traffic.
I wanted to talk to Mario about something because, like, there was the whole Kava Sutra thing, and, like, the more I watched it progress after I saw you put it up, one person that, like, in the magic community that I actually respect that is like, hey, you shouldn't yell at Mike, he's just, like, saying facts. And other people are like, no, he's a Nazi, and you shouldn't let him speak, right? So, and he's just like, whatever, you guys are crazy.
It's the guillotine.
I don't.
But
me personally, I don't think either. I think he's just being an a-hole.
No. But no, the guy.
Oh no, not
I'm
the,
talking
the guys
about,
from. Oh, okay.
I'm saying like the one guy that I respect from Magic, and they all love him, and I just can't remember his name exactly, but whatever. He's one of the few people that's like David that like isn't an asshole to me. He was like, I've never walked into a Kava Sutra, and he's like, he actually travels, like he all over, and he's been to like every Kava Sutra pretty much, and he's like, I've never walked into a Kava Sutra and thought, you know what, this is a crazy conservative like Republican den of anti-gay and anti-alt community, like haven.
My buddy worked for them for like 2-3 days, and they straight up were awful to them.
No, I understand, but like, have you ever been into like just let's just go in general in any like type of kava
you guys
bar.
You guys walk into a kava well, I've walked into a bunch of kava bars, but kava bars are always very chill, which is why like their social media makes no sense because that is lacking so much chill that you would normally see in a kava bar.
Exactly. So that like that doesn't fit with how like even though they're terrible to their employees there and like their products are subpar for dirt water, that they've scammed a bunch of people into drinking, like it's still like super chill. Like the people that hang out in front of the Kava Sutra places are legit like homeless hippies that like don't discriminate against everybody and want everything free, like as close to communism as you can get, right?
But here's
so like that said, hold
I want to make a point. Oh, sorry,
why does every fucking place need to have a political leaning? Like, can't you just sell your mulch soda and shut the fuck up about your shit?
It was a tactic. I think it was a sales tactic because
maybe,
you saw their post about
stupid.
Yeah,
I've seen other people post their posts. I don't know. Yeah. I don't drink it, so it's not really in my wheelhouse. Not in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, but
I drink the Kratom tea. Yeah, Drew's frozen.
He's frozen. And he'll go like this.
There we go. He's back.
Yeah.
There we go.
So any place that has a fucking political agenda, like the minute that I walk into a place and see some political shit, I walk right the fuck out. I just can't be more turned. Like I'm going to you for juice or fucking a burger or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear shit about politics from a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Unless you're like, crazy, huh? Yeah, crazy. Like I can agree on that medium.
I think it was a legitimate like sales are dipping. How do we get? What's the easiest way to for free get people to come and buy our dirt water? And
they've been out on 95. You'll pass them heading north on 95 through Lake Worth, and you'll see them out with the big Kava Sutra sign and the Trump 2020 sign.
Yeah.
On I think it's Hypoluxo sometimes.
Yeah. Because like it literally Trump said it. He's like, yeah, whatever. Republicans are the dumbest people. I'll run as a Republican because they'll just buy anything if you say the song and dance. I mean, like I don't agree with that 100%, but I mean, like if you want to sell something, you could just be like, America, conservative.
Well, did you see their post?
Ain't no pussy water here. This is all American man dirt water here, And people are like, yeah, Trump, woo, I'll go buy whatever dirt. Like, I think it's also like a very good like
My Pillow.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally like My Pillow. but dirt water. Like, and I feel like that's a great, what is it? Like, I don't know.
Listen,
I
like
an example
kava.
of America.
Like, I like kava, but kava.
If you
kava
can,
tastes like dirt.
Yeah, it's dirt water. It's terrible.
Yeah,
like,
I like kratom better. Kratom is like a bitter tea.
I had one
like
time with Tom, and I was mad at him for taking me to the place.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. Same with me.
Kava's a terrible taste. Kratom I like. It's like a tea.
Yeah, it was Kava Sutra. Yeah, it was Kava. That's the only one there is.
Opened back in the day, and Tom was like, it was like years and years. I still lived there. Like my kid was like 1. And I was like,
very old, yeah.
Fucking yeah, and he was like, "Oh, come try this kava. It's supposed to get you a little fucked up." And I was like, "Why?" I was like, "I'm gonna go eat pizza now because I gotta get this out of."
Yeah. You would have liked kratom better because kratom is basically just like tea that's a little bit more bitter.
I like tea.
Better. It's better.
And that's a different story.
No, you know my favorite drink? My favorite drink, water.
Listen,
my favorite fucking drink is water. Number 2, coffee with a little liquor in it. That's my favorite fucking drink.
The kratom crap is just better in comparison to the kava dirt water.
The kava shit.
Yeah.
That's funny because I actually like the taste of it.
Did you just give me fucking
weird.
Fizzy mulch water? Like that's the way I describe it. It was like
fizzy.
He's like, no, it's good, right?
It's not supposed to be fizzy.
It's not supposed to be fizzy.
I don't know.
It's not. If it was fizzy, it had gone bad.
All I know about it is it was fucking gross, and I was like, why the fuck did you ever bring me here? It's like.
Oh.
Just
so
right.
not.
Tom, it all tastes
bad. Tom, like, do you even know? Like, how long have you known me? Why the fuck do you think to bring me here? Like, what are you talking about? What are we doing here? I was mad that it cost money.
Yeah.
And I'm not like that. I'm heavy-handed with tips. I'm generous. I don't care.
No. Yeah.
Even if I don't like a thing, I'm like, oh, it's not my cup of tea. I'm still gonna, I was like, I gotta fucking pay for this that tastes bad.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Wait, they charged you for your first cup of kava?
This was
in any bar that I've ever been in. First cup is always free.
This sounds like it was long enough ago to where like it was new and they were just charging people. Because I remember when I went in there,
it was like a whole new thing. Kratom, people had like, it was like people like, is it an opiate? Like it was like a fucking like.
Listen, when I went into that same place, I was like, they were like, oh, like here, this is what it looks like, and I looked at somebody's bowl of whatever the fuck that was, the kava, and I smelled it. It smelled terrible. And they're like, yeah, man, we'll buy you like 2, your first 2 for free. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm just here to say what's up to my buddy. He works here. And then I just had to, and they're like, really, man? It's good. It's got all these medicinal. I'm like, I don't drink mud. And they like got offended, because people do. So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, when you go into a kava bar, you don't think like, oh, Trump rally. You know what I mean?
When it comes to 2 things.
It was definitely a
did you see their shitty post about ladies' night?
Yeah. That's It's literally a fucking marketing ploy, and you know what? Good on them, because they trolled a ridiculous amount of people that I hate, and I love them for it. And also they trolled a bunch of people that I probably hate, which is great. And they made some money. That's cool, and for something that they most likely don't believe.
But I'm gonna tell you something right now.
Trolling. I'm
gonna tell you something right now.
Trolling. Yeah.
You guys did not have a problem walking into Kava Sutra, but I bet money, like $10 because I'm broke. I bet money that if the next time Drew is down, we do an experiment and I walk into the Kava Sutra.
I bet you won't
Let's
get
just
shit.
say I bet
I'll tell you what.
I bet Lake Worth ain't shit gonna happen to you.
I bet nobody says shit if you're with me. I bet if
no.
Nobody says
I walk in first.
I bet nobody
on
says
my
shit if he's by himself. I bet nobody says shit if he's by himself. Have you been in that Kava Sutra in Lake Worth? Like you've showered? You're fine. You can come on in. You've showered?
I mean, it is Lake Worth.
It's Lake Worth.
It is Lake Worth.
Even
I love Lake Worth, but Lake Worth has
the one up in on North Lake, up by where I live. It's like, oh, you've bathed in the last month? You can come in.
Right.
For
it's
some
like a lot
reason,
of
once again,
patchouli and natural soap.
Once again, like
in that joint.
Where in that culture do you see like super conservatism? Like it doesn't
right.
It doesn't mix. It doesn't.
Well, you guys
everybody like straight up bit like they took the bait hard as fuck, and I was just like,
it's weird. It is weird.
It doesn't make sense. There's
you guys want to run that experiment? We'll film it.
Any kava place is conservative by any means other than like I don't even know. People smell like dirt that's been fucked by a hobo that work there and patronize those places. So like I don't know. I patron those places. Like I don't know like how that's conservative in any way. The whole place smells like you're eating mud that smells like it's dirt that's been fucked by a hobo.
But
and, it's wet with cum, and then like the people smell like they've that and rubbed it on them instead of bathing for months.
Wow.
So like, does that sound?
You have a very low opinion of Kava.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It should not exist. Yeah. Like it's a great scam.
You can go.
That's how it's conservative. It seems like a good business scam. That's the only conservative thing about it.
And go to Havana at any time of the day and get a batido. Why the fuck does Kava exist if you can go get a batido? You can get mame, fresa. You can get all kind of delicious shit.
Coffee exists.
Why the fuck? Yeah.
Coffee exists.
Why would you get a fucking? There's Coca-Cola in the world.
Coca-Cola.
It's the opposite Coca-Cola, bro. Like it's supposed to help you.
Yeah. I'm not big on Kava. The one that I do is the other one, the tea.
It's just gross stuff.
It's
just gross.
You said it right, Mario. Doo-doo.
Dude.
Doo-doo. It doo-doo.
I don't want it.
Doo-doo.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
No, the Kava is nasty. The other one, I actually do like the taste.
Just tastes better in comparison. We're gonna go in circles with that. I agree with like the political thing is not. It was so out of right field. No, it was so out of right field. It was an ad.
From now on,
it was an ad.
Anybody that starts talking politics to me, I'm just gonna be like, no, and walk away from them. I don't have it anymore.
I'm gonna start talking politics to you.
Because there's no. Well, you all just grab and fuck and straighten you out.
No veloso.
I'm faster than you.
Maybe.
I just have longer legs. That's it.
Ask my brother. I'm pretty fucking explosive off the fucking line. It's
no.
It's
You do not.
I move slow until it's time to move fast.
I'm gonna quote Toby Keith. Drew isn't as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was.
I got a solid 50-yard dash.
Yeah, if you think you can escape Drew in like a short run, no.
You want to know what's funny?
I think that's the only way I could, because for the same reasons.
I was gonna say I used to work in loss prevention for Macy's, and you get nicknames all the time, and you have a scoreboard, and you get 0.5 points per case that you're involved in. You had two ways of being involved in a case. You were either the floor monitor who did the apprehension, or you were the person on the camera, right? So, and that's how the points were split into 0.5s. And I remember this one time, this kid, and we had a jurisdiction of the entire Aventura Mall property, which is massive. We could go into any store and grab somebody as long as we showed them our identification, or anywhere on the mall property outside. We were supposed to disengage in parking lots.
Big.
Yeah, it's massive. And it was supposed to disengage in the parking lot, but like you could cowboy it up back then. It was Macy's. Yeah. They would even give you handcuffs back then. Now I think a lot of places don't do that. And
it's frowned upon.
Fucking this kid, we tried to grab him. Me and one of my favorite people to work with, Tracy, and may she rest in peace, this lady Anna was on we call her Marie, she was on the cameras, and she's like, you know what, the direction he's going, if y'all go around and so here and here, I bet you catch up with him over by JCPenney. It was like that kind of thing. And we creep along and we see him, and I'm like, and Tracy's like, let's get him, and I'm like, no, let's fucking slow play him, let's walk in, because if we watch him hit in a couple other stores, we can get a recovery for those stores as well, and it's like a thing, that racks your points and your value in the company. Especially if other loss prevention agencies see you giving them cases later on when it's time to renegotiate your fucking pay. You can go like JCPenney, they know me over there too. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I'm following this kid for a while, and then we grab him at the other side of the mall, and he's like, oh shit! And when I grab him, so he can't run because he's a little squirrely guy, and he's gonna run on me, and I grabbed him and cuffed him, and he's like, motherfucker, you like Jason? You just popped up. He's like, you just was following me slow and shit. Fuck. And like, he cracked us up the whole way back to the office that we didn't even. He had like a felonious amount of merch.
And he's frozen.
And he's frozen.
And he's back.
There we go. And he's back.
So I was saying he was so funny we didn't even call the cops on him. We just like trespassed him and shit. But yeah, he was, and then I got a nickname, fucking Psycho Killer too, because I'll just trot for a long while. The last time I did a long hike was with Tommy Donuts, who went camping in Gainesville, and I was pretty sure he wasn't gonna be my friend anymore because we had to hike from the parking area to the campground, like about I forget if it was 2 miles or 4 miles, something like that, something not horrible if you're used to hiking. But we had wagons that we were dragging along, and it was supposed to be a packed trail, but it wasn't. It was a fire line, so it was just like trees and stumps and fucking sand and shit, and we're dragging these fucking wagons. And Tom got so angry and frustrated on the hike that he had to stop and take an anger shit. And he was shitting and cursing at me on the trail.
No.
The whole way.
Fuck you.
And I was trying to give him wipes, but he wouldn't take them out of spite. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care." And I was like, "There's like miles to go. Like, you gotta wipe your ass, man." Like, it was like an argument. It was great. And that whole part of the trail stunk for like a whole day.
Oh no.
Tom dropped hot anger shits.
Oh dear.
Tom has been a joy on several campouts for his antics. One time, we all went camping, and as a tradition on my hunting trips, I would go hunt for a couple of days, and then friends would meet me up, and we would hang out for a couple of days at a campsite. And I would drop acid or eat shrooms or whatever. And Tom came out, and he never did psychedelics, but he was like, "I'll get boozed up." And so he got grain alcohol, Everclear. And his theory was like, he heard a thing where you mix a fourth grain alcohol into whatever you're drinking, you get bombed. But Tom was drinking a gallon of fruit punch. So a fourth of the gallon of fruit punch was like a half of the liter of fucking Everclear. So he mixes his drink, and like 10 minutes into this drink, he's like hobo drunk. He's like, piss on yourself.
Yes. I love hobo drunk.
Oh,
That's my favorite.
Right away.
Oh, do you remember that one time we basically pounded moonshine until we couldn't anymore? In Hollandale?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I remember that moonshine specifically too. Warren was getting that peach moonshine back in the day. But so Tom gets so fucked up, and we're not sure what's going on. Because Tom never really drank. And then he shows us the bottle of Everclear, and we're like, "Did you drink all that?" And he's like, "I mixed it. I didn't drink it all yet, but I mixed it." And then we see he's gotten through about half of the gallon.
Yeah.
He needs to stop, or he's gonna get alcohol poisoning.
So we're trying to get the gallon from him, and he's running and trying to chug it, and he's vomiting. He's vomiting and drinking at the same time.
Yes.
What?
Chunks coming out, and he's trying to pound it. There's barf in the jug. I'm getting sick thinking about it. And fucking my homegirl Kat, somebody she brought, this dude Zach goes up and he stabs with a knife. Because he's also fucked up on acid. He's a genius.
Damn.
While Tom's chugging, stabs with a knife the bottom of the gallon. Okay, and Tom starts trying to drink the gallon before
it's
out.
No.
And he doesn't know.
That's how you die.
The only thing that saved him was he didn't know which side was leaking faster, the nozzle, like the opening or the cut. So he was like blah 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 blah. And then Gabe slapped the gallon a couple times, so it like splurged out more and more. And then he was like falling down drunk. He was like peeing on himself, like fucking tripping over stumps and shit. And then we had to tie our friend Kat, our guest and friend of the show as well. We had to tie her dog Akbar to him, and then he barfed on Akbar. And then we untied Akbar from him.
That is that poor dog.
And then he was sitting in a lawn chair he was sitting in a lawn chair that he couldn't get out of. Oh no! So this was before we stabbed the bottle. So he lost the jug for like a good half an hour to an hour because he put it under his seat and forgot. So for a while, before we had to stab the jug, he was just in this lawn chair like, so fucking hard to get out of this chair. If it wasn't so hard to get out of this chair, I would go find my jug. And he's like, one of you fuckers hit it. And we're like, yeah, man, it's gone. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you probably threw it in the fire. And then he's like,
frozen? Was he frozen?
Was he frozen? Yeah, he was totally frozen.
No, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is. He's back.
Am I back?
He's
okay.
back.
So then he's tugging at the grass, like just drunkenly, and he breaks the lawn chair. When he breaks the lawn chair is when he found the jug, and then that's when it got stabby. So then he goes to pass out in the tent, and we just hear him going like, oh my fucking God, I gotta fucking take a shit or whatever. And he's like just saying crazy shit. And then I guess he ended up pissing himself, so I was like, okay, you can have that tent, bro. Happy birthday.
That's your tent for the night.
That's it for life, bro.
Forever.
For
That's yours.
In a tent. That's your tent.
Yes.
That's your tent. But yeah, and that kind of level. And then that same night, this dude, Zach, was fucking super banged up on acid, and he just kept on running around going like, I got no dick. I got no dick. because he was dating. I don't even want to like say whatever. He was dating somebody, and fucking she has a lot of guy friends, and he I guess got insecure and weird. And me and my boy Gabe and the homegirl friend of the show, we were all doing DMT after we dropped acid, and like Gabe was like mapping the stars. It was amazing. It was an amazing night, but this guy just kept on being like, I got no dick, I got no dick. It was crazy. And Tom like drunk. And then when Tom sat back down in the broken lawn chair, eventually after we untied the dog from him, we thought he was going to sleep there for the night, right? We just like, starts raining, we'll grab him and throw him in a tent.
Oh no!
All of a sudden, after like hours of being out, he just pops up and falls into the fire.
Oh no!
Amazing. Face fucking first.
Oh god!
Face fucking first. Luckily, unscathed.
Yeah.
He pulled
the luck of a fool, my man. Like unscathed.
He pulled a Christopher Titus.
It was amazing. We just yanked him out, and he was like, ah! Gurgly drunk, like, and then in the morning,
dear God,
he was super fucking banged up and hungover, and I started cooking. You ever have bacon ends?
Yeah.
So when they trim the bacon, for people who don't know, it's not a perfect rectangle. So the tips, it's like the shape of a brisket almost, kind of like the belly. And those tips...
The frozen. Are they frozen? Did they cut them frozen?
Unlike...
Am I back?
Yes, you're back. You're back.
Okay. So I would buy a big thing of bacon ends. They're great for camping because it's big, beefy hunks of bacon, meaty hunks. And I'm cooking those, and usually it's one of Tom's favorite things. And I bring the pan up to him, and I'm like, "Yo, I'm making bacon ends," and he just turns around and drops on all fours, just like, cleans out. Oh, I don't know what brought that up. It was just a good story. It was a good old time camping.
You know, Tom just sent me all of his magic cards.
Oh yeah, he was telling me that. Isn't he a sweetie?
Yeah, like I told him, there's probably cards worth a lot of money, right? And he was like,
Maybe.
no. And he was like, no, there's probably not. And then he sent me like what he thought were like the expensive cards, and he's like, these ones are probably worth money. And then I look them up, and I was like, yeah, they're 40 cents and $1. Please don't didgeridoo us.
Oh jeez.
Did I ever tell you my story about how
Didgeridoo? What's that?
I ever tell you a story about how my dumb roommate who wasn't paying rent just
That's
decided
not a roommate, that's a freeloader.
Well, I mean, like, he was trying to pay rent, but his girlfriend it was a long story. Anyway, there were 4 of us. She didn't have a job, and he was not making a lot of money, and he got my old job at Guitar Center. Anyway.
She had a job with dude.
No.
She had a job.
No.
A job.
They're very nice people.
She was living with the
I don't want to.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
I understand.
They're my friends. Anyway. So, like, the only time I, like, yelled at this guy ever, because literally, like, so, little backstory on this guy, like, he has, like, epilepsy, pretty bad, right? And he used to work in the pro audio department in Guitar Center, and so, literally, he was living on his own, and he was doing a bad job, right? Like, he lived in basically, like Riviera Beach area, like, type, by himself, a white guy from Pittsburgh, but like a nerd, like living in the hood in like a 1-bedroom behind some. Anyway, so like I ended up like moving him in with me as my roommate with my girlfriend before he met his now wife. But like I was like taking care of him. I was like, you can't let people just tell you what to do. You're like, you got like issues, like health issues. He's like, yeah, you know, I just don't say no. And that gets me like jobs and money and stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. So anyway, like after I like had that roommate talk with him, our boss was like, hey, Jeremy, go change the strobe light display. And I was like, no, he can't. And he's like, excuse me, Tonto, you're gonna tell me what I'm gonna tell my employees to do? And I was like, oh no, he's got epilepsy. He absolutely cannot do that. And he's like, he'll be fine. He doesn't got that bad. All right, guys, get out there. And I'm like, I'm not going to my department. I'm gonna go make sure my roommate doesn't die, because it's not just like the strobe light display was not just like on the ground. It was on you had to get on a scaffold.
Right.
And like,
yeah. I know exactly the kind of display you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
displays. And he's clumsy. He's clumsy. Number one. So regardless if there was or there wasn't flashing lights, I'd be like, no,
Listen,
he
I'm
can't
not
do
ladder
it.
people.
He can't do it, right? People. So he's up there, and I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm like right here if you need me. He's like, I'll be fine. I'm not that bad, right? And
no.
and I'm like, yeah, just don't. I'm like, just don't plug anything in. Like, I'll go plug in stuff. You just set it all up. And he's like, I can plug stuff in if I want. They're all turned off. And he literally like strobes himself in the face and has like a petite maul and falls off this high ladder. And I'm like, ugh. And then I just take him.
Caught him.
Yeah, I caught him. That's literally all. My boss was like, Tonto to drums. Get back to drums. You need to fucking get back to your post. And I was like, no, you can go fuck yourself. Like, I just didn't want my friend to fucking fall off a ladder and die. So anyway, he falls. I catch him. And then as he's like waking up, I take him to my boss and I'm like, I just clear off his desk like an asshole. And he's like, the fuck are you doing? I'm like, he had a seizure on a ladder. I caught him. Fuck you. You can thank me later. And then I went about my way. And then he was just like, oh, I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, you fucking idiot. No, he's just like a boomer asshole. Anyway, so that guy, well,
I would have been like, if you would have died, I would have testified against you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I testified against him, and he still didn't get fired when that happened because he's like, nobody fill out an accident report or call HR, and I was like, I already called him, and he's like, no, and I was like, do something, like you're a fucking piece of shit. Anyway, so.
Well, he knows he can't because it's a retaliatory firing if he does.
No, he hated me until I quit. Anyway, I quit. I start this other job. My buddy gets my old job because there's no strobe lights in the drum department. And I was kind of like, we were on edge, you know, because like some people weren't paying all of their rent and stuff and they were pawning stuff. And then like I had like 2 jobs, right? Because my girlfriend and I were paying like more of the rent and bills so they could catch up and everything, which they never did. Anyway, and it was like 3 a.m. when he got home one time, and I had come home from a job and I was like just getting to go to sleep so I could go to another job in like 4 hours, and he fucking in the middle of the house, which was a raised house in Lantana, so like if you put the didgeridoo on the ground, it's gonna resonate through the whole house.
Yeah.
So he's just. Like, no, he wasn't doing it right. No, he wasn't doing it right. He was not doing it. He was making weird duck sounds and yelling.
Oh, so he sucked at the didgeridoo.
Yeah, it was bad. So I could hear. It was just like this.
I feel like the didgeridoo is kind of like akin to the violin in that there's no middle ground. Like you have to be good at it.
You're either good or you're not.
Yeah, see, he may have thought that he could have been good at it because I'm actually good at it.
Let's see if you can give Noveloso PTSD from your didgeridoo.
No, he probably knows what he's doing. Yeah. If it would have sounded like that, I probably would have thought it was somebody outside.
Yo, I wish I was like fucking Aboriginal so I could like have fucking walked into a fight to that. That's like fucking an intense, like a gang of didgeridoos just going off and you're just like, you can feel that shit. Like,
all right, Dewey Cox.
I know an entire didgeridoo ensemble worth of students.
It's almost like when you hear those monks doing like
didgeridoos. It's like yeah.
That shit is like it gets you trance like.
You don't remember that scene?
Can make you fucking hype.
You don't remember that scene from Walk Hard?
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I do. Yeah.
I want a didgeridoo.
You know what that was a spoof off of, right? The Doors movie.
An army of didgeridoos. Yeah,
remember the Doors movie where he was like losing it, trying to get all the
that part was crazy? It was a mix of that and then the Beatles.
Yeah.
When they went crazy with a million instruments.
Trance. Speaking of trance, we still have to do that hypnosis routine on Noveloso.
Tibetan throat singing. What happened?
Yeah, Tibetan throat singing is dope. Or even stuff like the haka.
No, that's from that movie, and Gene just said that in the chat.
Yeah, that's what that nam yo renge that's Tibetan throat shit. And then you have one guy just going like, and then the ones that are really gangster can do both at the same time. Where the one guy's just like they're just going like as they're going like nam yo renge kyo.
That's the
because
they can.
You guys want to hear something wild?
Different like parts of their vocal cord or whatever.
You want to hear something wild? For my midterm on didgeridoo, I played the Next Generation theme.
That's awesome.
Star Trek: The Next Generation theme. Yeah.
Wait, so you had a midterm on didgeridoo?
Yeah, I had a midterm. I took advanced didgeridoo to get my final credit to graduate.
Didgeridoo.
And because I played the didgeridoo.
Was the guy like real Aborigine?
He's
Was he at least Australian?
No.
I'll tell you what though.
He's one of the coolest hippie dude. Like.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was gonna start
acceptable
this summer, or not rather this spring. I was start soon planning a big camp out for next fall, like the late fall where it's nice and cool, so we can do it somewhere in like Central Florida, so you guys can all come along. And the didgeridoo has to be there. The didgeridoo is gonna be a fucking integral. When your brother's like deep into that shroom ride, I want that didgeridoo.
I'm going to bring my didgeridoo. I'm going to bring my didgeridoo, and I'm going to bring my little Volca FM thing. That way I can start the sequencer and have like an ethereal pad going under the didgeridoo, and then I can play harmonics over it.
I love it.
Oh, that is gonna make your night.
I love it. Yeah, that's what I would like to do, and we should film like a bunch of different like things that we cook and stuff while we're out, camping out, and like have a camp out. And then we got to talk actually Noveloso afterwards. I was just gonna start going into like a whole different thing, but that's like after show stuff.
Nice.
Yes.
Future plans.
Yes.
Those future plans.
The plans of the future.
So yeah, that was the only time I got, like, we called him Mr. Hat because his last name was Hatfield, but his back looked like a question mark because he had scoliosis too.
Ooh.
Yeah. He had all types of things. He had like permanent eczema too. There was lots of things. Yeah.
That's terrible.
But he was like my buddy, and I just made.
It's
fun
like
of him.
when you're upset about certain things about yourself in like the genetic lottery.
Yeah.
And then you hear about somebody who has some like a million ailments, and you're like, well, being a fat.
I hit him with a bat at work in his lower back to try and fix it. It was a good time. That's why Guitar Center shouldn't exist, because I was just like, hey, Mr. Hat, and he's like, what? And I was like, look over there, and he's like, I don't see it, and then I just went Haka! With
you're gonna have stories.
He froze. I want to, while he's frozen, I do want to say one thing. Like, that is a good thing that I never actually applied to Guitar Center in the past few months, because there were some jobs available.
Listen, they're better now, but like, I'm talking, I literally started working there at the end of like the good commission days, and like, it was literally, and here's the thing that fucking pisses me off. Every fucking person that I worked there with was like a fucking sexist, homophobic 80s jock musician, and now,
oh my god,
and now they're all fucking like, oh, I would never say anything about a lady, blah blah blah. And I'm like, motherfucker, you would tell me how you experimented with different foods because you would just spray your girlfriend with cum and then your side girlfriend with cum just to see which one said which one tasted better. And now you're like all high and mighty because you live in California and you're fucking married and you're in the super woke
I feel like you're
talking
California. About someone in particular.
Yeah, that's
very much.
That's
so
like,
sounds like
yeah, it's like one person.
So
That's like one person that was also like 5 other people that I worked with there. So like,
right.
It could have been. That's literally the same story of like 5 people that I worked with there. But it's like they were the 5 prominent people that didn't just cycle through. And then the fucked up thing was like I tried to make friends with everybody, and like this group of like jockey. Oh, I've been on the road, bro. Oh, I've jammed with famous musicians, bro. Oh, I was big in this decade, whatever. Oh, I play whatever local fucking reggae.
Isn't that shit like gross?
Like, yeah. Like they had their little clique, and if you weren't like cool with them, like they would talk shit about you.
Yeah.
And the thing was like I was cool with them because like I was like a nerdy fat dude that looked like Dino from Fear Factory. And like they would push me, but because I was like 300 pounds, I wouldn't move. So they would just be like, "Oh, this guy knows what's up," and I'm like, "You're just bullies." And they're like, "No, but it's cool. You're cool, man. You're Tonto, you know." Like I'm like, "That's racist," but I don't care about those things. So I'm just like, "What if I was Indian?" And they're like, "Oh, it'd still be funny because you're cool, man." And I'm like, "No, but I'll just let you keep calling me that because I fucking need a job." You know, but I'll be terrible right back to you. Oh, see, this guy gets it. I'm like, no, you guys are like joking around and being terrible. I genuinely want you to die. And they're like, oh, this guy, man, he fucking gets it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Fucking go set yourself on fire and fucking drive your car down the fucking road. Oh, man. This guy. That's why we like you, Tonto. And I'm like, shit, okay. I worked with an old guy that was the manager's best friend. And the manager, see, this is why I say, like, if you're a friend of somebody, you should never work for them. Because either the friend is going to take advantage, that's the employee, or the boss is going to take advantage of the friend.
Yeah.
This old guy had worked there for 7 years before I had worked there, not taken one vacation. And for the last 2 years before I worked with him, wasn't allowed to take a lunch. And then when I sent him on lunch for the first time, and the boss was like, what are you doing? I was like, and I just threw the OSHA thing that was on the wall at him. And he's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, clearly you don't know what this is, because this guy told me that he hasn't been allowed to take a lunch for a couple of years. He's like, well, that's his choice. I'm like, no, it's not. I just sent him to lunch. He gave me a hug and cried. He said, thank you for giving me the first lunch in 2 years. And he's like, oh, well, I mean, I could do that. It's just my store. I'm like, it's not your store, motherfucker. This is a corporate thing. Oh, this guy gets it. This guy It was terrible working there.
There is nothing worse.
It was
there is nothing worse than middle fucking managers who think that they're owners.
It wasn't even. No, he was the general manager of the store. Yeah. So he thought it was his.
Yeah, but he's still a middle manager.
But the thing was, he almost got fired for something that like was very illegal to be fired for. So he was not allowed to be fired for X amount of years. So in those X amount of years, he had a golden parachute. Like, that's literally what everybody called it. So everybody's like, you can't do anything. I'm like,
it's like when professors get tenured and they just become pieces of shit.
I was just like, they're like, you can't do anything, Mike. You can't fucking you can't take him down. I'm like, I mean, if I many arrows will eventually, many small arrows will eventually bleed him dry. And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like,
I've always been fortunate. I've always been fortunate to have a real hefty, heavy dose of I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I've had like certain times with jobs where a boss will talk to me a certain way and I'll be like, hey, you need to talk to... I've said this to like more than one person.
I said that to him many times. And then one time I just recorded it and I was just like, cool. And he's like, what are you going to do? Play that for HR? And then I just used his phone to call HR and I played the recording. And they're like, okay, sir, you can go ahead and leave. We'll go ahead and talk to this guy by himself. And I was like, bye. And he never fucking talked to me like that again. But I told him, I was like, hey, man, I know you think we're cool like that, but don't fucking talk to me like that.
No, there's been times where I talk to, I had bosses, say certain shit. And, I remember the same thing I've said, a couple times where it's like, yo, you got to talk to me like I'm somebody at the bus stop. Because before anything else, we're just two dudes, man. Don't fucking talk to me like that. Don't talk down. If I fucked something up, say, hey, you fucked this up, let's fix it. Or this is how you need to fix it. Yeah. That's fine. But don't try and belittle me or talk down to me because you think you're in a position that you can get away with it. Because that shit's not going to fly. I don't give a fuck about the job. I don't give a fuck about the paycheck. I'll get another one tomorrow. That's always been my mentality. And I've had, even when I worked at a pet store when I was 15 in Palm Springs. And it was run by this guy and his stepdad. It was in the plaza that I don't even know what's there now, but it used to be like a bowling alley and a Home Depot and 99-cent stuff and Pier 1 used to be there. That shit's all gone now, I think. But this pet store was right in there.
Did they sell frozen animals?
Arnie.
Because you frozen! He's not frozen anymore.
Okay. There's this older guy named Arnie and his stepson who ran it. I wish I remember the stepson's name. He was religious and he was kind of a dick. And Arnie would smoke cigarettes all day and he would go across the street to the bar and booze up.
You told me about this.
He would steal fucking frozen goods and shit from the fucking 99-cent stuff and be like, I bought lunch, and throw 5 packs of egg rolls or whatever the fuck on the counter and be like, nuke it up, kid. And
but you said the dad was cool, right?
That was the dad. He was awesome.
Oh, that was the dad. Yeah.
The guy who was our parents' age was and I remember it was this kid named Denny Del Dago was his name. Okay, and I believe that was his name. I'm 99.9% sure. And he was older than me by a couple of years. He was a senior in high school, and I was a freshman. And he worked there, and he was the one who was training me. We're all sitting around one day, talking about some stuff, and all 4 of us were there. And it got to talking about fighting, and I had boxing. Like Mario can tell you, when I was like 15, 16, that time of my life, I was a fucking animal. I was I was like 265 pounds maybe, and just like a fucking just thick-necked afro having fucking animal, fight at the drop of a hat, happy to do it, like fucking kind of kid. And
I know I had to watch myself around you.
Fucking well, because you used to be, you know what you were like? You were the top dog in your house for so long, and then I would come around and you lived in
I was
theory.
Not the top dog in my house. Have you met Marla? You met Marla?
But you and Marla didn't get into the kind of tussles that you and me could get into. It just, I've seen it. I've seen her stab you with a pencil, but it's all girl shit that she does. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if you balled up your fist and clocked her one, that's it. Like, you always had the Omega option, you just never used it because you're.
I did do that once, but I was given permission to.
Well,
mainly
sure
because she
well.
no, but yeah, I did pull back, but mainly because she had punched me like 4 or 5 times in front of Mom, and Mom's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like,
Do you remember when I first moved in?
And Mom's just like, you know what? I'm just going to let you hit her once.
Then after my mom died, and she was like, "I'm gonna tell my mom and dad that you did da-da-da, and they're gonna kick you out." Do you remember that shit? Well, this was an instance that took place right when I moved in because we were fucking around with each other. When my mom first passed away, I was like 19, and I moved in with you guys. Right when I first moved in, you know, we didn't live with each other ever for a long period of time, so we were still all kind of feeling each other out. And me and her were messing with each other, and I guess I messed with her like too much about something in front of her friends, and she was like, "Fuck you! I'm gonna tell Mom and Dad that you did this or that, and then you're gonna get kicked out, or that you smoke weed or something like that." And I was like, "Oh, you like want to get me kicked out like right away? I just fucking moved in here," and it became like a thing. But the reason she went to that place was because at first, you know, she was like she was like 13 or something.
Well, Marla was a little sociopath. She's a good adult, but as a kid,
to that place. Well, I think we all were nutty kids. But the reason she went to that place was because at first she wanted to hit me, and again, we were in the feeling out period of our relationships, and she was balling up her little fists and coming up in my face like she was gonna hit me. And I got up and I was like, "Bitch, I'll slap the shit out of you in front of your friends." And she realized, like, "Oh, I can't do to him what I do to other people because he's
what you did to me."
Yeah, well, I remember after moving in a couple of times having to break you guys up. But anyway, I remember once.
You were there. You were there when she
stabbed you with the pencil.
No, you were also there when I walked into the kitchen. Wasn't doing anything. I just walked into the kitchen, and all of a sudden, beamed in the forehead with an ice cube.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, now here's the thing, though. What you have to admit to,
I was kind
you
of
were a little bit of a prick sometimes back then.
I definitely
You could be a prick, and you were a little self-righteous, and you would rat on her for certain shit. You had that thing going on, and she was an asshole in her ways too. You're kids, you're adolescents, so you just were dicks. You're figuring out how to be people. Have I
told you guys about my sister?
Well, check this out. I just remember. I don't know what we were.
Drew is currently having a moment of zen.
She's as cold as he's frozen.
You're as cold as ice.
She put super glue in my eyes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was not the worst thing that she did.
Well, the worst thing I ever did to Mario, I remember it was one holiday, and it was before I ever moved in there, so I must have been like, you know, between 17 and 19, because it was like coming on my own vehicle and shit.
You were coming on your own vehicle?
I was, well, yeah, fuck yeah. 17 and 19, yeah. Anyway,
but on top of it, not in it. No.
On it, in it, and every nook and cranny I filled with cream, like a donut. Fucking.
Don't grab a black light.
Yes.
Or do if you want to have a good time.
Or do.
Depending on what kind of freak you are. But me and Mario were hanging out, we're playing, and again, it was like that kind of thing where we're teasing each other, we're fucking around, we're having a good time, brotherly fun. But then we got into like a little bit of a wrestle, and I remember grabbing Mario and pinning him down and folding him over, like
folding me like a pretzel,
like a traditional pin where you pull his leg over, you know what I mean, and like crunch. And Mario had never gotten manhandled.
I hadn't worked
before because he was the big brother as well. Yeah. You know what I mean, in his household. So he wasn't used to a big ass dude just grow you. And my brother Warren grew up with me like fucking splitting his lip and him retaliating while I was asleep with a soccer cleat, or like, you know what I mean, busting me in the face with a Nintendo controller preemptively because he knew it was.
I was used to getting sucker punched. That's what I was.
But you were also used to being the bigger person in that, and I remember physically like you being like,
I mean, in general.
But I remember you being like, I'll do this to you, and me being like, oh yeah, and fucking grabbing you and folding you up, and you being like, ah, and your mom was so fucking mad at me, and
I couldn't walk for a week.
But it changed, well, because you were kind of like a little bit of a softie back then. And you also back then, let's admit, I was a savage, no doubt. But you were also a bit of a drama queen back then, and I'm sure.
I was.
I'm sure you not walking for a week meant that your back hurt for 3 days, and you milked it out for fucking, you know what I mean?
2 more.
Or you never know. No, that was maybe, if you said that was the first time you ever got like roughed up, you know.
No, I mean it hurt. It hurt for a while after that. Like I was
I
not
boomed him.
quite
I picked him up and I slammed him on the ground. I folded him up. I just big brothered him. I was just like, oh, we never did this with each other. Like we never had this big brother moment. We never played the pecking order game. Boom.
So
and again, I was coming from like having older cousins like Eric and George who picked on me constantly. So my barometer was like, oh, these guys are 8 and 12 years older than me and fucking with me hard as a kid. Fucking.
Oh, they got me too. But at that point, they were old and tired.
And also, your mom was a lot more vigilant when it came to that kind of thing. Your mom was very protective.
I got thrown in a laundry hamper and shaken around.
Yeah, but that's not.
Dude,
Eric gave me a transformer that turned into a gun, okay, and told me, you want to play? Let's play guns. And I said, oh my God, yeah, because he was so much older than me. It was so awesome. You want to play with me in that way? He had a BB gun. He lit my ass up in his backyard in Hialeah. And that was the first time I ever saw our dad get like really crazy on anybody. And he literally like beat Eric's ass with Titi. So Eric's dad and uncle beat the shit out of him at like a fucking tag team wrestling match. But he must have shot me with 100 BBs in the fucking head and neck and face. And I remember my dad being like, I gotta take him home to his mother all fucked up with holes in his head. He lit me up because I was getting hit with so many BBs. I just laid down remember the backyard in Hialeah was all rocks? It was all like pebbles and shit. I just kind of tried to dig in like a sea turtle and give myself a little trench of rocks in front of me, and he just lit me the fuck up with BBs, bro. Fucking so yeah, they were, you know, we were coming from an unkind place. I remember one time he said, let's have a nunchuck battle, and he gave me foam nunchucks, and he had
I remember those nunchucks.
Yeah, he gave me a pair of red foam nunchucks, and he pulled out black metal ones, and fucking we had a nunchuck battle. And I remember him walking into the first shot and thinking, oh my God, I just hit him with such a good one, and then all of a sudden, on the side of my head, the metal one just reverbing off my head and being like, bro.
Oh no. Just like that too, because he's frozen.
And
literally,
exactly.
it was perfect timing.
It was so perfect.
Like this, bong.
Or how about this? My cousin George is like in his mid-20s. My cousin Eric is in his mid-teens, and I want to play Ninja Gaiden desperately bad. It's a new game, and Eric fucking goes to me, "You want to play?" Or I don't know if it was Ninja Gaiden or something else. He goes, "You want to play? Here, take this." He gives me my uncle's work boot, and my cousin George is asleep, hungover from the night before. He goes, "Go hit Georgie in the face with this as hard as you can, and I'll let you play the game all night." And I was like, okay. I was like the Manchurian Candidate. I just went in there like a fucking. You just gave me a rim shot? That's hilarious. Yes. So I remember walking in there like the Manchurian Candidate and just fucking whapping George in the face and then running for life and locking myself in Eric's room and playing fucking. And then that night I peed myself in bed and I put my underwear under Eric's mattress, and his mom found them years later and was like, "My son is fucked up, bro. My son is fucked up for years."
Oh my God.
My sister used to come home drunk and try to drink as much milk as she could for some reason.
Oh no.
So I replaced the gallon jug of milk with a gallon jug of Elmer's glue. And she drank Elmer's glue, and then I laughed at her and I slapped her in the face real hard because because she was a cunt only since ever, right?
Since the childhood days.
Yeah, since I can remember. Anyway,
what is wrong with both of you?
She like a week later, she's like, "Hey, I got some acid," and I was like, "Yeah, sweet." She's like, "Dose you right in your eyes," and I was like, "Sweet." So I just laid down. She dosed me in her eyes with her boyfriend, who would become her husband, and then I'm like, "This burns," and he was like, "That's not fucking acid," and I was like, "What?" And then anyway, so cut to like I'm in the emergency room with him, and they're like, "You're real lucky you had contacts on, otherwise we would have had to do like surgery on your eyes," and I was like, "Oh." Instead, we just had to like burn him off of the inside of your eyelids. And I was like, all right, so that's cool. And then, so then he takes me home, right?
What was it?
Huh? She super glued my contacts to the insides of my eyelids, basically.
I'm so glad that me and my siblings never were that shitty to each other ever, in our worst of times.
I just fed her Elmer's glue. She ate paste like a kindergartner. So
That's different than blinding somebody.
Yeah, she thought it would be funny. So literally, right? Her boyfriend, who I had...
She's like, hey, you know what'd be hilarious? If you never saw anything ever.
Yeah. She was the worst person I had ever met in my entire life. And I've met some pretty terrible people overseas. But, we get home, and I'm like, my friend, who was eventually her husband, was like, can you see? And I'm like, I see a shadow laughing at me, and he's like, whispers in my ear, he's like, if you just punch wildly at that shadow, I'll just walk over here. And I was like, what? And he's like, I don't know. And so I'm pretty sure I hit her as hard as I could, like blind, because I just heard a thump, and then he was like, oh no, you fell. Like... But, like, she tried to blind me. Like, and that was my friend before it was her boyfriend and then husband.
Sure.
But still, like, he was just like, it was like, you shouldn't, but, like, if you swing at that shadow,
smacking the chops,
nobody's going to stop you. Like, if you swing at that shadow, nobody's going to stop you.
Nobody's gonna hold it against you.
Yeah, like, we had saved each other's lives from, like, doing drugs before, but, like, she always crossed the line when, like, so, like, I wouldn't give her a ride home from this party, and she didn't want to sleep with this guy to stay there, and I was like, all right, but you can't drive. And she still drove and got into, like, a crazy car accident, but she was on, like, question mark amount of bars, so she was, like, untouched. And she says a bunch of dumb shit when I'm the first one there at the scene, and she's like, you gotta take my purse. They're going to think I'm on drugs because I've got weed in my... I'm like, no, they're going to think you're on drugs because your eyes are crossed and you're drooling on yourself like somebody that had, like, 10 bars. Anyway.
Also the weed.
Yeah. No. Anyway, somehow didn't get in trouble for that. And then I have to start taking her to work because even, as fucked up as we are to each other, I'm still, like, a nice brother. So on the way to work every day, she starts burning me with my cigarette lighter in my arm, just about halfway to work. That's how I knew we were like halfway there every time. She would hit it, we would just be smoking. She'd hit the cigarette lighter and then just right into like hard. She like melted it into my arm until one day like Christ. I just grabbed it with my hand and threw it out. Yeah, that was just like the light things. And I fucking slapped her a couple times. Like going to work because she would like try to stab me while I was driving. I'm like, do you want us both to die? And she's just like, I wouldn't die. I've already been in a car accident. I'm too fucked up. And I'm just like, oh God, fucking whoosh. Like, that's all. She's the worst person I've ever met.
Wow.
Like I've got holes in my leg, like hole scars in my leg from her just going, chika! And I was like, what the chika!
I feel like
like a gang member.
I feel like sister to brother when you're close in age, it's like more aggressive for some reason.
Yeah, she was literally a year younger than me. Yeah.
Well, and it's like females.
Yeah,
female
same with me
dogs
and my
don't
sister.
choose an alpha. Like
I'm a nice guy though. Like,
but it's just interesting to me because like Warren, my brother Warren and Lana are like 3 or 4 years apart, and they had at some points like a similar like intense, like one time Warren was messing with her when we were kids, and she threw a pair of scissors at him. And they stuck into the wall right in front of his face like a ninja star. It was amazing. And she was like 10, and we were just like, "Holy shit!" Like it froze the room. There was a couple times where she
could have been bad.
There's a couple times as a little kid where she like, cut him out of pictures, like family pictures that my mom paid money for at Sears, or like came after him with a kitchen knife.
So you just said as a little kid, all of the stories that I told you, she was over 21 years old. Over 21 years old. And
my sister as an adult has been a good egg.
And then when my buddy married her and then went to go be in Kuwait, she got
pregnant. And granted, my brother used to fuck with her really hard, so that's why she was attacking.
But I didn't ever. I always tried to be nice first, and she'd be like, "Why are you being a faggot?" And I'm like, "Oh, cool. Just not be nice to you then, I guess."
She sounds hilarious, frankly.
It sounds hilarious, and it was hilarious until she would be like, you know what would be even more funny? And I'm like, what's up? If I push you over this balcony and you never walk again. And I'm like, like
you were living with Macaulay Culkin from The Good Son.
Yeah.
Well,
but worse.
It's like that one
worse.
scene. It's like that one scene from Thor Ragnarok where like Thor's talking about how his brother like turned into a snake and then like changed back and stabbed him.
I never saw any of that stuff.
That would be nice if she did that because it would be less because he only stabbed him once. She was terrible. Well, she did save my life one time because I had a NyQuil problem where I would drink many, many bottles of NyQuil and then stay up and like you road trip for a long time. Anyway, I was blue on the stairs, and the only reason she saved my life, I'm very convinced, is because I was taking up a whole section of stairs and she couldn't get by, so she just kicked me until I moved, and then she said I threw up blue on the stairs, and I was like, oh, thank you. And she's like, what? Get the fuck out of my way.
You know what's interesting though? Like as Mario and I have become closer friends into adulthood, you can see past all of the, flaws of childhood because you get to like watch person like grow out of them or whatever.
No, she never did.
Well,
she never ever did.
Well, that's just being a horrible person. It's different. Yeah. It's different.
She was the worst person I had ever met in my entire life. And some Asian family members purchased people. I know people that have purchased other humans, and they have more redeeming qualities than she did. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Mario's reaction to that made my night. It was so pure.
Like I literally would tell them, be like, they're like, oh, this doesn't like phase you? I'm like, nah, my sister tried to blind me for life one time, and they're like,
yeah, that one definitely threw me.
They're like, what? Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. She thought it would be funny. And they're like, shut up, bitch. Wow. And they're like, that's fucked up, man. Like mid whipping a slave. And they're like, that's terrible.
Although my brother-in-law, Joey, tried to convince my brother Warren to get people together to jump me. And Warren was like, yo, all you're going to do is either get somebody the fuck beat up or get somebody shot. Like he straight up told, like my brother-in-law was terrible. Like, I think I had like sunned him recently and like yelled at him about something, get his shit together, or whatever. And this was like years ago. This was like when his mom was going through cancer, I think, many years ago. And
I remember this story. This is great.
I remember being like fucking, just yelling at him and shit, straighten him out and telling him he had to move out and get his shit together, and like big brother him, I guess. And then like weeks later, Warren's like, yeah, Joey came to me. He was talking about trying to like, if I knew some people that I could get together and jump you. And I told him I don't want none of my friends to die. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Because it's true, man. If fucking like 5 dudes come up on me, like, no, I'm not fighting you.
No, I'm trying to kill and get out.
Yeah, I'm trying to get away from you. I'm going to fill pelvises with hollow points and run.
Yeah.
It isn't like it used to be. No,
call guys in blue that have more bullets for you.
Yeah. What was that? The fucking idiot that fucking does his nails or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, like I just remember that was not you. This is a fucking. This guy does it for clout. Anyway,
an entirely different idiot.
Fucking idiot. You're not an idiot for doing what you're doing because it's a part of like who you are.
It's a part of your subculture.
Yeah, this is
Look,
a fucking piece of shit. Anyway,
I don't get why it's a big deal to anybody, anything like furry or whatever. It's kind of like
if
somebody who was into like steampunk or like whatever. It's like an aesthetic. Yeah. That's it. Like
it reminds me of like when we were in high school and like the people thought the Matrix was real, and they dressed accordingly. But
it's one of those.
I wasn't like what fucking weird dudes. I was like, that's just like their style. That's like what they. Like,
but that's the only aspect that really like should apply to anybody else, like anybody that's looking at you from outward in. It's an aesthetic that you've chosen. That's it.
Yeah,
that's actually cool. A good segue because I did want to like talk about that kind of stuff, like because you're talking about the Kava Sutra thing and like that, assuming that they would be shitty going in there. Have you had places like specific like places, not individuals, but like places where the overall response has been like weird, uncomfortable?
Can I go with you to those places? Like, can we go back to those places?
Yeah, can we film at those places? And like working for a church, how does that work?
I walked into this sports bar
Give me the
other
address.
day with
I will
my
pee
girlfriend.
there. Not in the bathroom.
Yeah, I walked into the sports bar the other day with my girlfriend. Like just like it's a restaurant and bar off of Pine Island and almost 595.
Okay.
Drew knows where it is. Drew's driven by there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's named after like a pro baseballer or something. And but yeah, no, like we walked in to go get lunch, and once we were out on the balcony, it was fine because like it was the staff out there and stuff. But like we went in there, and like the entire vibe of like all of the like half retired baby boomers that are sitting in there. And
it wasn't the people that worked there. Oh man, that's
yeah.
Take me to a place where like the staff and like the manager. Are
yeah,
like,
I mean,
what
like
the fuck
the
is
overall. Like,
yeah.
Not the patronage.
Take me
there.
Take me there, and I will stand on the customer's table who's giving you the most shit and pee on the employee that's giving you the most shit.
There's been a couple of places like that. I'm trying to remember.
I love to pee places that are very discriminatory.
Because I'm very curious about it.
I've got bad memories, so like
my diabetes pee stinks.
Thank you, Noveloso. Thank you for that.
I will pee anywhere. I'm looking for an excuse to pee places. And if it's out of justice,
I want a whiz for justice.
I want a whiz for justice. I want to do awkward hobo things for justice.
No, but I'm very curious about that because, like, when I hear about places like, because like I never had, I don't know if it's like the only discrimination I feel like I receive
when I've walked into
when
restaurants.
People look at me like they're worried I'm going to do crime. Like that's the discrimination I receive.
That makes sense.
Like when I'm with my kid though, I get a whole different vibe from people. So it's to me, I find the whole subject very interesting because I feel like you could almost like do fucking case studies if you wanted to. Be like, pop the ears off and go into a place, and then go back in 3 or 4 days with the shit with the ears and the tail on, and be like, shit, like is it that different of an aesthetic? And then do it vice versa, like and see how people do. Like, I feel like I don't know. I just like. I have a question. Of, like being able to study study reactions. Because for me,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Have you ever gone into like a hood place like that, like a kind of ghetto, darker part of town?
He's talking about
just like a
black community.
A black. Have you ever been around the black community?
How does the black community react to you? Is what I'm trying to ask.
Yes.
I've never been in Miami. Like this in like let's say West Little River or something like that. But
you've been to my house.
I've been in Lake Worth.
No, you've been to my house.
You know what?
You've been to my house.
In the hood,
did you stop at a gas station?
I have been in Riviera Beach. Here's the thing, in the hood, it actually isn't that bad. You know where it's worse? Like in a good neighborhood. In a good neighborhood, it's worse.
Everything's bad in a good neighborhood. If you're not there, whatever they've determined is
if you're not on
what
the
the cookie. Yeah, if you're not on the HOA and you're not whatever the cookie cutter is, you're a hoodlum. Like you could be worth more than everybody in the entire place, but if you are not whatever their cookie cutter is
like
in the nice area, it's bad.
I've gotten that reaction from staff here in Weston. I've gotten that reaction at the Publix. I've gotten that reaction when I've like been traveling up in St. Lucie to go to Orlando to see Marla. Like,
that actually says a lot because St. Lucie's like that's like kind of like country hood as you can country hood.
Yeah.
On
so
the
like
coast.
On
the coast.
That's a lot of churches and pills at the same time.
Yeah, people on pills at church is exactly what I think of in Port St. Lucie. And they give you shit.
Man, I gotta go to church, but first I gotta stop by Walgreens to get my grandma's prescription because she only thinks she gets 35, but she gets fucking 48.
And they're like, Hank, ain't your grandma been dead for 10 years? You shut your mouth, Earl.
Hey man, don't talk about that shit, bro. Because I don't want them to fucking hear that shit in the drive-thru.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I pity the fool. I pity the fool that gives me shit about my lifestyle, and particularly like, I choose this aesthetic because of things that have to do with not an aesthetic.
How do you mean?
I'm quote unquote Etherean, / otherkin.
What does that mean?
Different. It's different from like a regular furry.
Okay.
like a person in the fandom who's just a furry, like they might have a character, or they might like the characters. Like I'm gonna borrow a quote from Walter White. I am the danger. Like I am the thing that I'm dressing as.
Yeah. Like you actually
So
identify as
that's who you are, yeah.
Yeah. Instead of just no, we get that. No, we understand that. That's why we want to know, like,
yeah, but for the purposes
who's treating you poorly? I'll pee on him and he'll stomp on him.
No, but like you guys know, but for the purposes of the podcast,
right?
Like, I'm repeating
it. Yeah.
Well,
So,
because I understand it. I'm not going to pretend like my mind is all the way around it, but it's one of those things where it's like, well, if that's who you feel like you are, then great. Like I don't find anything bad about it.
You know what I don't like about like the person we were talking about that does like their nails. Like I feel like we understand like you and I, Andrew, we understand that stuff. Like he was having trouble trying to like articulate it. It sounded like what he was trying to say, but like we understood like no, that's just who you are, you know. But like, and I feel like the way we talk to everybody, it's like no, I'm just assuming this is like the way you're presenting yourself and the way you're like talking to me. This is who you are. So yeah, I'm gonna like talk to you like you.
Well, I think you got to be careful sometimes too. Like as I've gotten older, I realize like I do a lot of whatever I do in earnest. Like I just do whatever I'm doing like really truly.
But like, I would but like if I
what I was gonna say is you assume that everybody else is living that way as well, but as you go through life, you learn that like it's not that way. And I think like for someone like Mario who feels how he feels, and that means that he's gonna present himself as different, quote unquote, to like everybody else. I think it's like a brave thing to be like, hey, like this is how I want to be.
And I feel like you and I would rather talk to somebody like Mario because he's brave enough to be like, this is me, whereas everybody else, he's himself. Whereas like most people are just like, well, this is what the people around me think I should be, or this is what I think the world thinks I should look like and be.
Well, and when you're being yourself, and when you're being yourself, you can really truly know when you're loved because it's not.
I think a good example of like people like, I don't know, people that I want to hang out with. It's like, remember when all three of us and Mike went to DB Studios, right? And then I was telling you how the kid with dreadlocks was like, I have so many questions for his brother. And Dustin was like, no, don't do that. His brother's like an MMA fighter and Mike is Mike. He's like, no, I'm not trying to be. He's like,
Mike is Mike.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm not trying to be. He's like, I don't want to be disrespectful. I just have legitimate questions. And Dustin's like,
and I was like,
yeah. And that's when I told him, I was like, listen, man, if you're not trying to be disrespectful and you have genuine questions, you can ask him. And then that's when I was telling Andrew about how, like, at the end, when we were, like, leaving, you remember this, Mario? And he was kind of like, hey, man, I just got, like, it was real nervous the way he was asking you.
Like,
he was
one
just
more
like,
question.
He was like, I just got, like, I don't know, like, can I just ask you some questions? And you're like, yeah, man, sure. Because, like, you could tell that he wasn't like, why the fuck are you
being
weird?
A dick.
Yeah, he was just like, and he was, like, nervous.
It was in earnest.
To ask his, they were honest questions. Because he was asking me those questions. I was like, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I'm not.
Well, honestly,
I'm not a
Junior,
furry, you know, like.
Junior, like when you talked to me about being a furry the first time, I really was like, cool, whatever, doesn't bother me at all. The only concern that I had was like, oh, is my brother gonna be one of these cats who's like upset when somebody asks questions? And
literally cats, though.
Right.
Literally cats, though.
But I remember being like, I hope he's not mad. Like that was my only worry, because I wanted to like ask questions.
I identify as this. Please address me as such.
Well,
like
and
that.
I've heard a lot of people take the tact of like, it's not my job to educate you on this. Go like figure it out yourself. But it's like, hey, well, if you're the person bringing it into my world, then can you please, you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna ask me about the shit I do or am or whatever, like, I'm gonna be like telling you whatever I don't care. So I was so happy to hear you not just take that tact with me, but over and over again, just be like, anytime anybody's had questions and they weren't being a dick, you've been like, oh yeah, fucking ask away. Like,
His freeze faces. His freeze faces are the best. Let's see if I can mimic it. Here, hold on. You were like this.
Let me see.
Your eyes were like rolled back perfectly.
Oh man,
that's hilarious.
They're always at the middle of a sentence too, so you'll be like, and then like, and then just
I feel like Drew's Wi-Fi is conspiring to actually give us good shots.
Right.
It is pretty funny and right on point.
That's funny as fuck. Oh man.
But yeah, like, there's
I was always proud of that.
So then, what I don't understand is then, so like, I'm the same way with like my trans friends. I'm just like, whatever you want to be, I'm gonna treat you however you want to be treated, right? Like with David, for example, he's not trans, but like he's gay, and I'm just like, yeah, you're gay, but you're also funny as fuck, so that's why we're friends, you know? Like, I don't give a fuck. And then the other thing is too, like,
should be like tertiary at best, where it doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
If you're not fucking that person, what does it matter?
Exactly. And
yeah,
even,
like that has no bearing
then,
on your friendship.
And even then, like, my wife's black. I don't care. I'm not married to her because she's black. Even though some of my funnier friends are like,
my wife's
Mike just got married to a black girl so he could have a pass, and I'm like, incorrect. But anyway, good. And they're my funnier friends. But no, like, people get mad at people like you and I, Andrew, because we're friends with people that are like different or alt, and we're still being
outside of our scope.
Yeah, we're still being ourselves, and they are accepting us as much as we are accepting them, and it's not in their safe bubble way that they handle everybody that's different from them with like kid gloves. And I'm like, I don't want, if I were like, I'm different from everybody, and I would rather not be like oh no, don't say things that might like trigger them in the slightest way, in the most abstract.
It's not a good way to exist.
That's not a good.
The world is a cruel and harsh place.
Like, literally, my friend told me that
potential and a lot of people.
He's frozen. While he's frozen, my one good buddy, he's gay. He said I made it real weird when, like, because I didn't know he was gay for like a year that we were friends, and somebody was like, "You say faggot and gay around that guy a lot," and I'm like, "Yeah, what?" And they're like, "He's gay," and I was like, "Oh no!" And then like, the next time I saw him, I was like, "Oh, that's gay," and I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He's like, "Don't be a faggot about that. That's weird. We grew up in this time saying these words, so we're friends. You can just speak like you." And I'm like, "All right, but that's like offensive." And he's like, "Don't be weird. Don't be weird. Stop being weird, or we're not going to be friends." I was like, "Okay, all right." And that was like the weirdest point I've ever had with like an alternate like orientation friend, and he was just like, and then he got mad at me for then trying to be like, he's like, no, that's why we are friends. And I'm like, okay, all right, it'll take a minute though. And he's like, I understand. But I was like, it'll take a minute for me to go back though, because we said some terrible shit when we were just hanging out talking, and I was just like, oh no, it's even
that's the funnest kind of talk.
Worse in context now that he is gay, like that I know that I am aware that he is gay. Oh no.
Yeah. But that is the funnest kind of talk.
But here's the thing, Novolozo. Like, that was a little bit of a weird moment in the sense that like, you know, the person, like, you have that relationship. That you found out that they're gay shouldn't really change anything, because that's how you guys talk with each other.
But the way it wasn't. So like,
I feel like you went into a bit of a panic mode.
I did.
I think when you're younger, you do.
I did.
When you don't know how to manage that situation.
So like, I was honestly trying to deal with it like how I would deal with it now initially when our coworkers told me that he was gay. I'm like, it's. But I mean, like, well, he knows then, so like, it's fine, right? And they're like, no, this is terrible. Like, they scared me into it. Like, they scared me into being like, oh no, like, if I'm not like,
that's because people suck.
Yeah. Like, they scared me into it. And then like, he even pulled me aside after work. He's like, wait, like, did you talk? These
people
guys
always project that kind of shit, you know?
Yeah, like, he's like these guys over here told you I was gay, and I was like, yeah. He's like, fuck those guys. He's like, you ever think there's a reason why I just hang out with you and this guy? And I was like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, fuck them. I'm fucking leaving here. I'm gonna be a doctor, bro. Fuck these guys. I was like, cool, all right.
Yeah. No, because like, your friendship is your friendship. Like,
yeah, like,
yeah.
And like, I think people like that dislike, like I said, like, people like us who can just be friends with people, and it doesn't matter.
But also like, they do not know your friendship.
They don't.
You and your friend know your friendship.
They don't know.
That's a personal relationship.
Yes, they don't know the friendship, but they're trying to project their dumb shit, like you said, people suck. They're trying to project their dumb shit onto your friendship that has nothing to do with that.
There's an epidemic of like blanket judgments that are cast nowadays, unfortunately, and it goes all the way every direction. Where like I know for a fact we've been standing around places and been around groups that have been like, oh, these guys are whatever.
X, yeah.
Like,
I remember that one night when we were hanging out by Havana getting some food and we started talking to that cop. He took a minute to get comfortable. He was like, he did not know what to make of us.
Well, between Novolozo and me and you.
Well, right, we look like three different universes.
Completely. And I literally, in the most awkward way, finished my sentence and without breathing, turned to him and immediately just started talking to him. And he was like,
"Yeah, you just engaged him in a conversation."
I didn't. It was the hardest engage that I think he's ever had somebody where he wasn't like hands on the ground, like. Hands in the air, you know? But I was like, I'm aggressively positive towards you.
Well, you know what it was, too, though? We were chit-chatting, like, in a lively way, I think. And he was in such a close proximity to us that he couldn't not hear the conversation. Yeah. So it was like, basically, where it's like, well, you heard that shit, so what do you fucking think? Kind of like energy. And it was like, he was at first like,
just like that. Just like frozen.
He was exactly like that.
You froze. Just like when you did the freeze face for him.
Do you have a button on your desk? What is this?
He has a button. He has a button. He has to have a button at this point. It's too right on.
I'm dying.
But yeah, he was like, "What?" Yeah, he was so caught off guard.
Okay, we cannot change anything about this setup. Okay, no. I thought we needed to, but we don't.
That's funny.
But yeah, like he was, he had that moment where he was like, "Are these guys attacking me? Oh no, wait, because this is a weird group of guys. Like all three of us together do look like a strange group."
Yeah, it doesn't make that much sense right off the gate. You know what I mean? Like if you just saw me and Novolozo together, you'd be like, oh, whatever, two dudes. Or if you just saw me and Mario together, you'd be like, okay. Like I see that one a lot with me and Junior where we're hanging out, walking around because I'm big and I draw attention, and then Mario like doubles down on that, triples down on that. Or we're just like, people are just like, I don't know what I'm looking at here exactly. Like we look like half of an adventure party from a fucking D&D game. Yeah. Where it's like, oh, that's a half orc with some kind of fox kid. I don't know what like. Yeah,
imagine if we got like your sister or my sister to be the fourth. Oh no!
Also Michael. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike. Morrison.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we've walked around as that D&D party before. I'm very sure we have. I can only imagine what that looks like.
Mike's a half orc, half dwarf. Okay.
What am I? I'm just a giant.
You're a half elf. You're a half elf.
Oh, half elf.
Yeah, that's the Asian side.
Oh yeah, I even have the anime here.
There you go.
The anime sideburns.
You're a half elf. What are you, Junior?
Either a tiefling or a halfling. Like I don't know.
I think I'm a half orc.
Yeah, I get that vibe.
I am tall and light.
Yeah.
Aren't those elves?
But you're bigger than an elf?
Yeah. We should freeze too, every time he does. And not let him know when he's back.
I've thought about it and I haven't done it.
All right, so next time, just be ready.
I suppose I will. Sure.
But yeah,
that'd be great.
But like I don't know. I like just talking to people. And then my wife even said that she's like, I'm like, I don't like people. And she's like, what are you talking about? You talk to everybody when we go out. I'm like, no. I talk to the people that are like, oh, nobody talks to me. I'm weird. I'm like, no, I want to talk to that guy. I want to talk to that girl.
Shit.
Give me that person that smells a little weird. And she's like, why do you talk to them? I'm like, they're weird like me. I have to go talk to them.
We need to fucking plan a goddamn road trip because the weirder, the fucking better. You know one of my favorite places to stop in Gainesville? One of my favorite places to stop, bro, is a fucking gas station across the street from a roadside titty bar that's open 24 hours.
I know exactly. Yes.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
And they offer
it's a gas station
food.
Right next to Cafe Risque.
And
like, fuck, dude.
And it's a restaurant / strip bar. And you can have like an open face sandwich.
I've never been in the titty bar.
And an open face sandwich. I've been there every single time I've driven there.
The gas station itself, the weirdness is just creeping out of the walls, bro. The last time that I passed by it, I was with Eva and the kid, and Eva was like nervous because the first time she was on a trip since like the pandy began. And we're at the gas station. I'm filling up, and I'm getting waters out of the cooler in the back of the SUV. And this dude just like shuffles out of the woods with one leg, and he's like, "Hey, hey!" And Eva's like, "Go, go!" So it's like out of the dark, 2:00 in the morning. This guy just like bolts out of the woods on one leg in a wheelchair, doing the one leg scoot. Hey, hey! And we're like, "Oh my god, what the fuck, zombies!"
So the last time I was there,
but he might have needed help.
Oh yeah. He might have needed help because, like...
One leg is like...
There's a gas station there. He could have got the help he needed. There's a guy in the gas station.
It's all run by, like, this family.
If
the same family that runs the strip club runs the gas station. Because, I
am with my kid, I'm not helping nobody.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Fair.
Nobody.
Fair.
If I'm
well,
with
my dad was with
myself,
his kid when he took me there.
If it's the three of us and a one-legged guy runs out of the woods, I'm going to be like, Mike, start filming. That's what's gonna happen. But when I'm with my kid and my wife, it's a whole different ballgame. We're surviving the apocalypse. We're out of here. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
You got a family to protect.
Ejecting from the situation every fucking time. I don't give a fuck. It's like that scene in Goodfellas where it's like, you wasted fucking 5 aprons on this fucking guy. You fucking jerk off. Like, I'm getting out of there. I'm not helping nobody.
So the last time I was at that strip club, my dad brought me there. He was like, "You've been here before?" I was like, "Yeah, unfortunately I have been here before and I have done drugs here." He's like, "Me too." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, let's go in. Come on," because we were like doing a road trip. Bonding. Yeah, we were doing like a road trip back to Florida, and he like took us out of our way that we were going just to go there because he's like, "Yeah, I think I know a few girls that work here," and I was like, "Whatever." Yeah, and then it was real weird because he knew the guy in the cage. So anyway, you walk in, there's a guy in a cage that's like, $20 to get in. Don't touch none of the girls. And you're like, "Oh, okay." And then my dad is like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, Ernie." And he's like, "No, you guys can just go in." And he's like, "Yeah, we're just here to get some lunch." And I was like, "For getting lunch here?" And he's like, "Yeah, because like, all the tables are on the wall, and the girls, come out of the back and they dance in front of you." He's like, "You can have an open face sandwich with some roast beef like right above it." And I'm like, "This is disgusting." And then this one stripper wouldn't leave me alone because I have ecstasy tattooed on my arm, and she insisted that I had ecstasy to give her, and she's like, "I'll do whatever for any amount of ecstasy." And I was like, I don't have any. And then like
you should have just went to the bathroom and got one of those little fucking, if it had one of those little dispensers.
I mean, she was coked.
Tylenol and crushed it.
Yeah, she was fucked up enough. She was fucked up already. Yeah.
This is some shit you need right here. This will get you off the ground.
She was fucked up already. Well, it was funny because the stripper that I wanted to sleep with was like that was like acceptable looking. She was just like all over my dad, and I was like, "Okay, well that's weird. Not gonna do that." And then like this girl was like clearly like a meth trailer park hooker as well. That was like, "I'll do anything," and I'm
well,
like,
that's the thing about.
And I'm like,
"You'll
do nothing. You'll do nothing." I had no
interest ever going in there because it's like one of those spots where it's like they gotta be.
But no, there's literally
be a fucking veritable horror show
in there. I mean, it's a literal 50-50. There's crazy beautiful women working there, and also there's a very weird the champagne room, how Chris Rock says there's no sex. There's sex in that champagne. No, there is sex in that champagne.
There's sex in every champagne.
No, but I mean, like, there is
a cute song, but
no. I mean that there's for sure sex. Well, okay. Let me rephrase that. So there's most likely sex in most champagne rooms in Florida, and like Florida for sure. Yeah. But like as the further north you go and the further west you go, there is definitely none. Anyway, this one, like, there was for sure because every single guy that I saw going in there, like, they would be coming out, like, literally their pants were down. Like, they're just pulling their pants all the way up. And I'm just like, oh, like, they just want next, get out of here. Like, they were pushing the dudes out. They're like, I got to fuck another dude for money. Like, and those are, like, the hot ones. Those are the hot, boing. Those are the hot ones.
Girls got to eat.
Yeah, literally. So like those were the hot ones that were going into the room, and they were like explaining it to me a weird way. They're like, I'm naked, you're naked, I touch you, you don't touch me, I lube you up real good, and then we just have a good time. And I'm like, no, 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 nope, I don't want to do that with any of you here, except for her, but apparently my dad knows her, which means I do not want to do anything with her at all. But yeah, it was a weird place. I ate there, and I didn't get sick. It was actually the only place in the whole trip from Colorado to Florida that my dad decided to stop and we ate at where I didn't get sick. And I just had like a fried, like a pub sub type of sandwich.
I can't wait for shit to open up enough for where everyone can be comfortable enough for us to plan a road trip, man. Like, it's the funnest shit.
I'm so down.
I love a road trip, dude. I love the trip as much as getting to wherever the fuck we're going. Like, I love that shit so much.
How many?
Like,
dude,
the best.
I've done road trips. Luckily, I've done road trips from like California to the middle of the Midwest, from the Midwest to like the Northwest and the Northeast. I've done like the whole East Coast. I've done the whole South route from Florida to California. That's crazy. Like, I've done like a lot of the major routes, and I've gone like up to the Great Lakes into Canada, and then like illegally, and then like come back through legally, and they're like, we're Canada, we don't care. Like, yeah, like I've gone all over this. It's actually a great nation, or it used to be when I did that. And then,
I mean, the nation itself still is. The people want to know, but the country is gorgeous. Like, when you drive, even like places that are kind of boring-ish or supposed to be, like Kansas. I don't know, man. Those big, beautiful fields are like pretty fucking wild to look at. Or like when you're looking at those big fields and you see windmills everywhere in the distance. That shit's pretty dope.
That's actually pretty cool. Where all the energy
wild.
windmills.
Yeah, that's just cool. Like, I like seeing other parts of the country. There was some truck stops in Kansas where me and Marlon and fucking
they're legit.
Tom bought fucking cowboy hats for like $5 a hat.
Yeah.
And bought like hand rolled cigars, hand rolled by Indians, and we just smoked stuff. So I guess I'm still frozen.
You're back for a minute.
That's funny.
But no, dude, like the Midwest is like, it's underrated, but then like it's underrated by people that live there, and it's overrated by people that don't. It's like,
on aside for a moment, it is not fun to cross your eyes wearing contact lenses.
Ooh, I bet.
Why?
Ooh, because they shift.
You should try moving just one eye with contact lenses.
Or don't.
Can you do that? So all you
I have a lazy eye. Hold up.
The last time that I took
No, I mean like full on chameleon control, bro. Hold on, let me get close to this bitch.
Oh no.
Check this out.
No. Let's not. Oh, I don't want to. I'm gonna look.
I'm gonna
get a joint ready because I don't want to see that. It's gonna give me a headache just thinking about it.
Ready?
Oh god. Oh god.
I don't want to be ready.
No.
Nope.
No.
I'm looking over here. I got a mic.
This podcast is okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't as gross as you thought.
It wasn't as gross, but like
it's gonna give
I
me
definitely
a
moved the one eye. Dude, I actually like practiced that.
I'd rather watch an arm snap.
I could literally make my eyes move outwards like a millimeter, but it's enough to where people are like, oh, that's gross.
No thanks.
Yeah. But I have like really good independent left eye control just by itself. I don't even.
We were talking about road trips.
Yeah.
Fucking when I went with Tommy Donuts and Marlon to film like one of the first incarnations of Chef'd Up, we drove to Colorado. One of my favorite parts of that trip was like we had early morning donuts and coffee in Georgia, and then we had fucking like a brunch in Tennessee. And then we had fucking dinner in Southern Illinois. Like, we had a snack in Kansas. Like, it was just cool to, like, state and then find it and go there. But, yeah, and then find the spot and go there. That shit was, like, the funnest part of the road trip. To be like, go here.
We got to do that.
Guys,
I have some breaking news. Jessica Walter has passed away.
Yeah, 80 years old. I saw that.
Yeah.
Who was the guy who passed away a couple days ago too? Seagal?
I know who you're talking about. I don't know what
Check
he
him out.
What he did.
Check. He
Jessica
was in, like,
Walter was Archer's mom.
Yes, no, I know her, and she was in Arrested Development as well, and she's been in tons of other stuff as a
Play
character
Misty
actress.
for me, opposite.
That's why everybody was saying they need to rewatch Archer today. Okay.
Yeah. She was the shit. But no, I'm talking about also look up the guy Seagal. And I'm not talking about Steven Seagal. I'm talking about I believe that was his last name. He was in Just Shoot Me. He played like the editor of the magazine or the owner of the magazine. That was like as an older guy, but he had been in like tons. George Segal, is that was his name? He passed away a couple days ago as well.
No, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
He is hilarious.
He was hysterical. He was a fantastic actor, comedic actor, another great. Those are two in a row that were like fantastic.
His comedic timing, he was a very underrated actor.
No, he was old school, one of those dudes who kind of had, like, it came up in that area where you had to know how to do everything a little bit. You had to sing and dance and shuck and jive.
No, I'm just talking about
comedic or dramatic as well.
I'm talking about his comedic timing. What the fuck was he in?
He was in a ton of stuff, but I think the most recent thing was Just Shoot Me as a older guy.
No. He was in something.
He's been in a ton of shit.
Damn it. Where it's like, oh yeah, when he's in the Goldbergs TV show. Oh no, how are they gonna do the rest of that? Anyway, there's this terrible TV show called the Goldbergs, and he's the only reason to watch it because he's that like pervy grandpa that lives with the family.
Wasn't Brian Callen on that show before his controversy?
Yeah. He was too. Yeah. Those are actually the two best characters on that show.
He plays the gym coach or whatever.
Yeah, the insecure tough guy '80s coach, gym coach, and the '80s grandpa that's like, let me get you a switchblade, kid. Come on, don't tell your parents. And then like you cut yourself real bad, and he's like, oh, we gotta tell him. I hope I'm not like he's an old kid that like just has access to beer and firearms, and he's getting you into trouble because you're just like in middle school or like grade school even or high school, and he's just like. It's like, come on, nah, it's okay. Don't tell your parents. It's only heroin. It's okay.
You made me think of my grandfather just now so bad. I remember my brother Warren turned 5, and I had turned 8, and we were at that age when you were a kid, my mom was okay with us like walking home from school, like about a mile or so, maybe a little less, and we were okay also to go venture into the neighborhood like on our bikes, and we had like a radius we could fuck around with. And I remember being at my grandfather's house, and it was like the first time that we were over there and gonna go out and play in the neighborhood. And I remember him being like, "Get you all right for them to go run around like that on the bikes?" And my mother being like, "Yeah, it's fine." And him being like, "Andrew, Warren, come here." And we're like, "What?" And we like come up to him, and he gives us each like a fucking 2.5 foot piece of dowel, like a big stick, like a dowel rod.
Yeah.
If there's a stray dog or an asshole, you crack him in the fucking head with that.
Yeah. That's exactly.
He fucking armed us before we left the house. And then, like, later on, he showed me how to, like, wrap a chain around it or put a nail through it. Like, he literally was like, in case anybody fucking bothers you, crack him in the fucking head.
And then
like,
literally, I bet if your mom was like, Damn, what are you doing? And he's like, they got to be a man sometime or something. Because it's literally like...
He was so slick with that kind of shit. He'd be like, come here to the garage for a second.
That's literally...
He had, like, a big, long piece of dowel, and he cut 2 fucking, like, batons out of it.
That's what this character is. But then, like, when like, his daughter... Oh, it's the blonde lady from Reno 911 is the mom.
Oh, yeah.
And, like the slut.
She's fantastic. Yeah, Wendy McClendon. Covey, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
You missed it, Novolozo.
Great comedic actress.
He was only frozen for a second. And,
you guys freeze for a second on my end all the time, by the way, but it's only for a second usually.
Jeff Garlin is the dad. So, like, the parents are, like...
solid cast.
Yeah, solid cast. But, like...
Well, I've seen it. I just don't watch a lot of TV.
I just love that, like, he's that sly grandpa, but then when he gets caught, he's like... Especially with, like, the youngest kid, Adam, who's only, like, 11 in the first season. He's just like... What do you mean? What do you mean he can't have a gun? He's got to become a man sometime. They're like, Dad, he's 11. This is 1985 or whatever. He's like, in my day, I had already fired a machine gun by the time I was 11. And they're like, Dad, no, you can't do that. And he's like, whatever, I don't understand. Here you go, kid. Here, take this. They're like, no, Dad. He's like, all right, fine. It's like a great back and forth between that. It's like that grandpa.
I totally relate to that more than.
I love that grandpa.
I don't know if I might have told this story before on the show, but my mom and my stepdad used to work in a nursing home, so we would get like jobs to clean out old people's houses and shit. And there was this one older guy who was a World War II vet who just was start giving us fucking like banana mags. He gave me like a 22, a taser, a cane sword. He was like, take it. I don't need it in the home. Take it, taking me away. I'm gonna die in the home. He would say crazy shit like that. But he had like raccoons and cats living in his house, shitting in a spare bedroom. He had like cans of chicken broth that he would just eat that for dinner, like just drink some chicken broth, hold it in the fridge. He'd be like, yeah, it's like I'm back in the army. Fucking like he was one of those guys. And fucking he was just like, here, take it. Fucking his fucking armchair had like a body stain on it.
Yeah, his body.
Yeah.
You know what?
Like a body soil.
Warrior till the end, I guess. You know.
He was
Much
fucking.
respect.
And like I said, it was me, Thomas, fucking my stepbrother, my brother Warren, and just like a bunch of kids, like whatever stray kids my mom had at the house that she was feeding that week. She's like, come on, we'll go to work at this fucking, and then.
Hey, Andrew. Look at the screen.
This podcast has gone completely off the rails.
I think that's where we got to end it right there, boys. I don't think we can go beyond that as far as fun.
You weren't even here when Mac was on here the other night. Oh my God. Man.
When what was what?
When Mac was on the other night.
Oh, that was tremendous, yeah.
Tremendous. You want to talk about going off the rails?
That earned him his own show on a sister network.
It did. It did. Which I will be filming tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, boys, it's about that time.
It is. Yes. It's almost midnight.
This has been another great chat.
Indeed.
On the LSD Podcast. Subscribe if you haven't, if you're one of our listeners. Also,
yeah, Gene.
Make sure to like.
Check the Patreon. Comment.
Yeah,
tell
Gene.
us what you think, Gene.
Yeah, Gene.
Comment when you want to be on the show next, Gene.
Yeah, Gene. And he stopped watching.
Gene and my sister Lana.
And as soon as you said that, he stopped watching. Yay, we have no viewers now.
Well, there you go. Cap it off. Patreon. Join that one guy.
Casey. We need to have him back on.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, not long ago. I remember his.
He's back. He's back.
He's back.
We were supposed to have Casey on a while ago, but I feel like there was some kind of thing that happened. Maybe his kid was sick or something like that.
No, okay. It was you were in town the week that he could be in. He could be on.
Oh yeah. We had a discrepancy in the schedule.
Yes.
Yep. This show is like that one super tanker stuck in the Suez Canal. We just can't get it loose.
You clearly don't watch the show because this is one of the more tame episodes that we've had
really?
in a very long time.
I should have. I feel bad now because I should have gone louder.
No, not the volume.
No.
Just the chaos level.
No, yeah. I meant in terms of chaos and crazy. I didn't mean.
No, this has been a nice reprieve.
Oh yeah, it's nice. This is like when it's just the two of us.
Just the boys.
Yeah, when it's just the two of us hanging out. This has just been a nice hang.
Whereas the last time we had guests, it was.
But honestly, it'll make sense. Mario's been at almost everything that we've filmed and done.
Yeah.
Basically,
He's other basically
network.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We make all the things. We help make you look the way you think.
We edit all the things.
Well, let's end this so we can chit chat, Mike. We have some business to discuss.
Yes. You're watching the LSD podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Only on one station.
You should You should definitely redo the Toast of London.
No, as soon as you do that, like what you just did, that tag, then you just have like LSD. Yeah, like an old school 50s jingle.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
Next time I'm down, let's do that together.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do that. Oh, that's great. That's great. All right, and get us off, Mike. Beam us out of here.
I'll get you guys off.